Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter where you're calling from. It's great to see you in today's session. I'm seeing lots of new names, which is amazing. So if this is your first time, then welcome, welcome. This is one of our product update webinars or feature launches where we get to share with you what's out in your Waybook account over the last month and give you a bit of a sense of how to maximize Waybook within your world and your business. For those of you who I've not had the pleasure of meeting, my name's Mike. I'm one of the co-founders here at Waybook, and I'm also joined by the fantastic Elle, who leads our account management and customer success department as well. So in today's session, we're going to look at 4 of the key releases that we've got. But before we go, just a little bit of housekeeping. We like to keep this as interactive as possible. So please feel free to message in the chat, perhaps say hello and where you're calling from. And then also you can, sorry, I've just changed the chat settings by accident there. So you can now say that. Hello, Frank from St. Louis. So great to see you. And also, please feel free to jump into any of the Q&A if you've got any thoughts or questions. I will try and keep my eyes on everything. So if you've got anything, the chat and the Q&A is for you. So yes, we've got people all over the world so far already. Elle is in Birmingham here in the UK. I'm in London at the moment. I'm currently looking over the Thames and the London Eye. We've got people in Vancouver, in St. Louis, in Brighton. So we're all in very good company here. So without further ado, let's jump in to get a bit of a sense of what we're looking at today. So we're going to be covering 4 of the updates. One of them is improved shots. Now, we know that this is a great time of the month for us to come together because not only are we sharing new things, but we're also telling people old things that were once new that perhaps they've not used. So Shots is our SOP capture tool. It's been around for a while, but we have done a big improvement of that, and I'm excited to share that with you today. We've also done a lot of tweaks over the last couple of months with document deadlines. So I wanted to take this as an opportunity to share what's new with your document deadlines, and most importantly, how you can actually set deadlines or due dates, if you prefer to call them due dates, and actually where in the product and for what purpose might you use document due dates. Then also, we're going to take a look at the glossary. We've got a couple of updates out on the glossary. And then finally, at how you can do a high priority setting for your knowledge, which is particularly useful for you as an editing, a collaboration team member. So helping you and your other creators decide actually what is the best way to create content within your Waybook. So without further ado, let's just jump straight in. But again, as always, if you've got any thoughts or questions, now is the time, and please do jump into the chat. So let's look at improved shots. As I mentioned, Shots is the SOP capture tool. It enables you to essentially take a screenshot, but record that how-to for any of your core knowledge processes or procedures. The purpose of Shots is basically to really increase the ease of capturing your know-how in order to then document and delegate that with your team. What it actually is a Chrome extension, so it lives within your browser. And now the change is it now enables you to capture shots in all of your windows. So previously, shots would only capture within your desktop browser, whereas now you can capture things in PowerPoint or in Excel or in your CRM, which might be a desktop app, so whatever is necessary within there. And we're also doing a background video recording of all of that as well, which is super useful because if you have a step-by-step procedure or process how something works, in the background we record a video, and very soon you'll be able to actually pull out new frames and create new content from that video recording as well. What Waybook does is it will also then use AI to generate specific titles and descriptions. So if you're doing something quite unique, then Waybook will be able to look at that image and decide what that is and how it can best explain and share that with whoever might be viewing that shot. Now, Shots itself is currently available, so you can get that within the Chrome store, you can have that within your browser, and you can literally use that as it exists. But we also do have the new version, the improved version of Shots is currently in beta. It's in beta by request, so we only have a very few people on that at the moment. So if you did want to join that team, please do let us know. And we will be making it more available to more people over the coming weeks and up to a month. We think that will be in all of your hands and ready to go. So we have lots of updates in progress with that. So that basically means that you'll have all of the ability to do many more things in terms of annotating images, adding new images into previously captured shots, and lots of things where we've had requests from before. Matt, you've got a question, Matt, a great question there. Will it work on the new version of Mac OS? Yes, indeed, it does work on the new version of Mac OS. Oh, sorry, will the new version work on Macs? Yes, Macs and the new Mac OS, both of them. Now, to share with you actually what this looks like and how it works, I'm actually just going to jump into an example Waybook account, and I'll give you a quick view in terms of what you can do with it. So if I click on the shots here, this is actually the current version of shots. So some of you may be familiar. You can click record, and then if we forget that I'm on Waybook, let's just say that I'm on any other system, I can kind of click around, and as I click around, I might say go to organization. Then I'm going to click on groups. I'm going to click to suggest groups, and then it will generate the groups. And you'll see here it's clicking what I'm doing, screenshotting where I'm clicking. Now it's saying I've not got internet, which is not true. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I'm not allowed to demo things that aren't yet out into release, because I always run into things like this. But you'll be able to see that actually it's screenshotted, it's highlighted what I'm doing, and then it's also created those titles. So now we can basically import that directly within our Waybook, or we can, of course, embed that and share that publicly, even outside of your Waybook as well. So that is your that is your introduction into shots, how that works, and I'm very excited to kind of get that into all of your hands very soon. So next up, as well as shots, we have a lot more that's been moving within deadlines. So deadlines are obviously a critical part of Waybook, very dependent in terms of how you utilize your Waybook. So is it just for your single source of truth where people answer questions? Then that's great. But actually, if you're using Waybook to make sure that people are staying up to date and compliant at the right time, or perhaps for your onboarding and your training where things need to be seen and done at a particular time, then the Waybook deadlines really comes into its own. Now, the reason why this is important is obviously to make that knowledge consistent, and make sure it's consumed when it's required. But crucially, it removes all of that managed overhead of that compliance. So speaking with many of you on the call and also many other Waybook users previously, if you've managed your training or your onboarding on spreadsheets or email lists, you're constantly having to check and make sure people have done something by the right time. Whereas with Waybook, you can set a various amount of deadlines. So they can either be your relative deadline, so relative to the time in which that person joined the business or got access to that content. You can have fixed deadlines, which is a point in time. So for example, you might want somebody to confirm that they have seen the holiday policy in November before everybody asks in December how much holiday they can try and transfer over to the new year. You've also got recurring deadlines, and these are great if you have a set of training or piece of information that you want people to look at every year, every week, every month. You can set that all up within Waybook. And finally, you can also set deadlines on both an individual document or a learning path, and we're going to take a look at that at just a moment. Now, the documents are available, deadlines are all available in all accounts. They're available in your document and your path settings. Some of the very advanced deadlines are available on the Pro account. But let's just take a little look at what that looks like to give you a sense of what you might use and when. So coming back into this, oh, I've still got my shots running here. Let me close and cancel that. Looking at this document here, as I mentioned, you can either set a deadline on a document or a learning path. Now, if you're choosing whether to set a document on a deadline on a document or a learning path, you basically want to ask the question, is it just one unit of knowledge, one piece of documentation or information, like the company history, or let's say this particular policy within HR? Or is it a whole set of documents that you want people to look at? And in which case, if it's an individual document, you can probably set it on the document. If it's a whole set or a piece of training, you probably want to set it up in a learning path. So this might be, for example, your either your onboarding training, which you want them to revisit a certain part of, or perhaps we might want to create a let's say a health and safety learning path. I'll create a little title for that. So for this health and safety learning path, we basically want you to, and I'm going to say we'll do the office security. Then we want you to do the, I don't know how much health and safety document I have in here. Let's say visual branding. We want you to look at the codes of conduct and then the bullying policy. You get the impression. So I'm going to put a few documents in here. Now, as we've put these documents in, this might be our health and safety training path. So we can, of course, put the deadlines on there. Now, when you put deadlines on a learning path, it is always a relative learning deadline, which basically means I get this deadline 7 days after I've got access to this learning path or that document. Now, because this is a small training, I'm gonna say they should all be done within a week of getting access. But you could also, if it's slightly bigger, say we want you to do that on the 7th day, this on your 8th day, this on your 9th day, and you can basically just go from there and set that up. So these deadlines will basically then customize that experience for anybody who has access to that learning path. But one of the newest changes is you can then set that up as recurring. So with a recurring deadline, we can say, okay, we want you to do this every year. And that basically means that in a year's time, there will be another deadline. But of course, you need to reset that due date 1 month before. So it will show as completed until a month before. And then that will basically say to that person, you need to complete these documents again. And if you go even more advanced, you can even say there's a grace period. So say, for example, we want you to do this every year, but on December, but you've just joined in November, we can say we're going to give you a grace of 30 days. So if you've completed it, you don't need to complete it again. So there's a series of increasingly advanced options within that. The key thing is that having the deadlines is very useful. Having the recurring deadlines continues to keep it useful and up to date. And having the learning paths means that you can do that for a set of knowledge and documentation. All of that still exists if we go to an individual document. So say, for example, we want to look at the purpose and the background document. And actually, if we go into the settings and go to your deadlines, then again, within here, we can either set a specific due date within that. So this is Monday, 1st of December, or a relative due date based on when they've got access. And then, of course, if we wanted to do recurring on top of that, we can do that. So this is the document that will be due date by 1st of December 2025. And we want everybody to look at that on the 1st of December every year. And also they have 2 weeks to complete it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your helicopter view into deadlines. Again, documents or paths, specific or relative, and then you can also enable recurring on any of those. Amazing. Right. Well, let's move ourselves on. If you've got any thoughts or questions, again, please do pop that into the chat. Now, the final or penultimate thing we'll cover today is the glossary. So we have had the glossary in Waybook for probably about 9 months now, and we see a huge amount of businesses using this. So we've actually continued to improve the glossary. Now, what's happened with the glossary, or the reason why glossary exists, is because we want it to provide essential context alongside all of your content. Now, we know that it can be overwhelming when you join a business and there's all of the kind of hidden words and acronyms and things that you feel like people are speaking a different language. Now, ideally, you don't have that within your business, but inevitably you do. And then you also may have things that are industry specific or role specific or domain expertise specific that you may actually just want to create a quick glossary term for that. Now, instead of creating a document which has all of those terms, which of course you can do, within Waybook, you can create the terms and it will just overlay that in all of the relevant places within the business. So this really supports the understanding of the knowledge for people as they're moving through that. Now, what the glossary actually is it's or what the updates are, sorry, is we've got much wider language support. We've got more symbol support. We've also increased the numbers of glossary terms that everybody can have. And we've enabled you to export your glossary as a CSV. So if you did want to cross-check or kind of import that anywhere else. All of this is fully available within Teams. So every team does have a glossary. There are more terms available for Pro accounts. And if I just jump back into the Waybook here, the way you access Glossary, because it's not actually within your knowledge, it actually sits across your whole organization. This lives within your settings. So if you go into settings, you go into Glossary, then here you can either add individual or you can add from a CSV. So you can kind of copy and paste that directly in. And let's just add in a new term. Let me find a word that exists. So okay, let's use powerful. Why not? Just because it's there. So we can add in powerful, and we can say, "Hi, I'm the Glossary." Now, believe it or not, this is not the recommended use of the Glossary. I wouldn't recommend you do that with these sorts of words. But if we go in here, then you'll see that whenever I'm on a word, it will be underlined, and the reader can then hover over it to get that glossary term. So you can see how valuable this is as it lives along and across your world. A few other updates have happened where it's now not case sensitive, so you can have lots of different options of that. And also, if the word exists within another word, then it won't show up that term as well. So it's really kind of tightened up and become a lot more valuable across your team. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the glossary update. And then finally, the last thing we wanted to share with you today are high priority documents. Now, high priority documents are one of those features that aren't often used. We must say we see a smaller percentage of people use high priority documents, but when people do use them, they really use them. So we just wanted to kind of bring this more to your attention. Now, a high priority document is essentially reducing those to-dos when you're creating document and really supporting the creation of and the management of all of that as well. So what it actually is your ability to set a high priority flag on a document when they're creating. Now, this then makes that visible on the left-hand navigation and also in your document manager. So it basically means that you and other collaborators creating your Waybook can really stay focused, stay aligned, and make sure that you're always working on the most important things. Now, you can enable this when you create a new document, and it's also editable within your document settings. So let me just show you exactly what that looks like, because it is available on all of your accounts. So again, I'm back into this Waybook, and we can actually just toggle over into the edit mode. So let's say we're creating a new document, but in fact, let me do this in a different way. So let's say, for example, we've seen within our reports that somebody is asking for expenses, and we're not getting any responses in terms of how they file their expenses. So let's pretend that there's no search results there. So as a knowledge owner, I can then come in here, I can say, well, where should I put that? Yes, I can figure it out, but I'm just going to ask. So we can say create a document on or create an SOP on how to file expenses. Now, what Waybook will do is it will read the whole structure of your Waybook. It will decide where it goes. It goes in finance. It goes within management. So you can actually see where Waybook has suggested for that to go. Okay, that's cool. That's a perfect place for it. And we can then add that document. So now we've created this document. We can see what that is there. This is where we can add a high priority. So I might know that that's important to do, but actually, I'm not the one that's going to fill it out. Let's say L needs to fill that out. So I'm actually going to add L into that document as an owner. And then I can actually just hover over and toggle on that high priority flag. So that now means that when L is creating, what she'll do is she'll scan to the high priority documents first, and then she'll be able to prioritize the ones that go through. Now, if we go into the document manager, into the settings of that, we can actually see within the setting, we can toggle on or of course toggle off the high priority of that. The high priority flag is available for documents as they're first created because it's part of your creation workflow. And if we go into the document manager, we are then also able to see all of the documents that I am an owner of. And also we can add in the we can add in the flag for us to have high priority. So we'll toggle that on there. And this basically will mean that I can scan or see which documents have high priority that I work with. And these are the documents that I'm going to start with. So again, toggle it on your documents, then you can see it in the left-hand side, or you can do the quick filter to see which documents you should be focusing on to make sure that everybody can drive forward and build out your Waybook in a very clear and consistent way. So Ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the end of today already. We've absolutely whizzed through today. So, what's next? What are we working on? Improved shots continues to be a massive focus for us. So, we have lots of features coming out in that SOP capture tool. The reason why this is really important for us is because we know that people are always either creating new or updating your existing knowledge. So, if there's better ways to share a piece of knowledge or information, then that is one of the best ways to do it. So, we're really excited to bring that in. And then the other thing we're doing is focusing a lot in terms of improved knowledge creation. Right now, you can import, you can migrate, you can use context, you can do AI creation templates, and we're really creating a more unified way for you to create more and support your content creation of your knowledge in a more effective way. There is, of course, lots of other things that we're working on. So you'll always see small tweaks or hopefully feel small tweaks and improvements as you move across your Waybook. But for today, that does bring us to the end of today's session. If you've got any other thoughts or questions, now is the time to put it in the chat, and I will hang on for just a couple more moments. But failing that, I'd like to thank you all so much for your time and attention. It's great to see so many of you coming back to this session every month. We always look forward to making sure that we're putting things in front of you that you really want and you really need. So please do keep in touch with the team and share your thoughts, share your feedback, and help us make Waybook better for all of us here today. So have a fantastic one. I appreciate you sticking with us as much as you can, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Take care. Okay, I'm going to come to the chat, to the questions, actually, because they've just come in now. So, Valentina, thank you very much. How may I request to be included in the beta for shots? That is your request there. So, Elle, if you could possibly take note of Valentina and make sure that she is on the shots beta. Erin, hello, good to see you. And yeah, Erin and Frank also there. That's fantastic. Thank you. Erin, so your request is attach priority flag to specific documents per user. So for example, for a reviewer, attach priority flag to specific documents per user. I'm not sure I fully understand that, Erin. If you could put that in the chat, that would be useful if there's a bit more clarification. If not, we know where you are. We will speak to you. And then Matt, is it possible to subtly indent the document's layout? That's a good question. If I'm thinking and following you correctly, I think so, yes. So if we go in here, you can either sorry, I go into the edit mode. So one of the kind of node types or content types that we have is a quote. So if you wanted to turn this into a quote, then you can indent that part of that piece of text or that document. It's called a quote block, but actually it is an indentation. I think that might be what you're asking for there, Matt. But please do let me know if I've missed the mark a little bit on that. Jessica, hello, Jessica. I am fairly new to Waybook. Can a reader print steps? I figured out how to print them, but can a reader do it too? Great question. So, by default, no, because we want to make sure that your piece of knowledge, your information is your information. Now, if you wanted to print them, then of course you can go into the edit, you can go into settings, and you go into sharing. And within the sharing, you can then export as a PDF, or because sometimes the PDFs have all of your colors, your branding, your logos, and everything, you can export as the print optimized PDF, which basically has a lot less color, so it's much better for your toner and your cartridges. Now, all of that is available in your settings, but you'll also see the setting here, Reader PDF Export. So if you enable Reader PDF Export, then what it means is if somebody goes onto the information tab or the activity tab of that document, so I'm in reader mode now, you'll see that I actually have those options to export as a PDF. So no by default, Jessica, but yes, if you enable it on that document, and that's where they can look for it. Okay, loads more shots. Beta access requests. That's excellent. Aaron, draw attention to a reviewer so they get the review done. Interesting. Yeah. So yes, if your document is in high priority state, then that high priority state is on the document itself. So when you ask somebody to request a review, which just for everybody's knowledge there, you can request a review, you decide who needs to do it, and then you send it to them. They will get the notification. Excuse me, they will get the notification. They will be able to see that in the notification center and in their email. It will link them to this. But if this is a high priority document, then actually it will still have that flag here. So it will still have the flag. Also, if it is a high priority document in the document manager, they will be able to see documents that they are reviewing and filter that by high priority. Now, the one key thing just to bear in mind there is that the high priority document flag at the moment is primarily used just for new documents. So I believe once they're published, you can't then go back and make them high priority. But Aaron, if that's something that you were interested in, then please do let us know. We can look at that again. Rachel, how do we edit font size / type in Waybook? Okay, good question. Good question. So Waybook font size is a standard size. There's been a lot of testing to make sure that this is readable for lots of people. Now you can increase the size by increasing the type of it. So actually, you'll see here that a paragraph is a paragraph. We do have headers, so you can make that bigger. But for it is this size for a reason, because it basically means that it's readable on all devices and also on all screen sizes. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, Mike, I can't see it, it's so small, you'll see this little icon here, and you can expand the view with one click. You get that jumbo view there. So Waybook also remembers if you go into this expanded view as well. So if you're in expanded view, it will stay in expanded view across all your documents, or you go to that normal view there. So Matt, you said, sorry, meant in the category subject document view. And you said, let me remind you, is it possible to subtly indent the documents? Oh, interesting. So you mean in this bit here, these are indented, I believe, Matt. So like this here is if I collapse them all down, these are the categories, these are the subjects, and these are the documents which are indented from it. The reason why this isn't indented beyond that is because it's a different view and different UI. I hope I've answered that, Matt. Please let me know if not. Aaron, similar to flagging an email, so draws your attention, nudge a reviewer owner. Okay, perfect. Love that. Thank you. Amazing. Okay. Well, look, thank you so much, guys. I think we're at the end there. But if you've got any other thoughts or questions, let me know. If my speed answers haven't satisfied you enough, it seems like I have there, Matt. Thank you very much. Please do let us know. Always happy to chat. Always happy to jump on other calls. It's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I look forward to seeing you at some time soon. Enjoy your day. Take care. Bye-bye.